Okay, nagbabalik po tayo dito sa ating programa Republika. Kausap pa rin natin si Board Member Neil Andrew Nocon, Board Member ng Laguna, at ang anak po ni Salvador Doy Laurel, si David Laurel. Bago po natin pagpatuloy ang ating pakikipanayam sa kanila at alamin natin, siyempre, iino po ating mundo tungkol po sa itong nalalapit na selebrasyon ng EDSA at anong naging kontribusyon ni Doy Laurel. Ay tignan po natin itong kaunting handog namin para sa inyo.
Immediately after the People's Revolution of 1986, Doy was appointed Prime Minister and concurrently Foreign Minister of the revolutionary government. Although a contemplative man who carefully weighed the consequences of his actions with great care, Doy took to his new job with boyish enthusiasm. As he walked through the historic corridors of the old Department of Foreign Affairs in Padre Faura on his first day in office, he drew inspiration by the fact that the first Minister of Foreign Affairs in the cabinet of Emilio Aguinaldo was a fellow Batangueño, Apolinario Mabini. He seized this historical episode to rally the demoralized career diplomats that the new government would restore professionalism in the diplomatic service true to the ideals first set forth by Mabini. Without much fanfare, Doy had crafted in his mind a new vision and mission for the conduct of a new nation's foreign relations. More importantly, he gave the career diplomats an inspiring mission order: to communicate to the community of nations which had watched awestruck the People's Revolution that this was a nation reborn, committed to the ideals of freedom and democracy that our founding fathers had fought and died for. Indelibly inspired, the diplomats cheered him enthusiastically on his first day in office. "We have not seen this happen in a long time," a career officer murmured in the crowd, her eyes welling with tears. From that day onward, Doy Laurel set forth to preach the new gospel of a nation reborn to the far corners of the globe. He restored the confidence of the community of nations in the country and people he loved so passionately, and to whom he would give his last full measure of devotion till his dying breath.
Well, yun po ang ating munting handog para po sa bagong henerasyon ng mga Pilipino na baka hindi nakakaalam sa naging kontribusyon po ni Vice President Salvador Laurel. Siguro po sa ibang pagkakataon may iba pa tayong papakitang film showing naman. Alinsunod naman sa particular talaga dun sa naging pinakamalaking handog niya o naibigay niya para sa bayan patungkol po sa United Nationalist Democratic Organization na tulad ng panimula ko salita ay 6 na taon niyang pinanday na nagsilbing barko o bihikulo upang nagkaroon ng alternatibong o matatawag natin demokratikong alternatibo para sa pagtatatag ng bagong umaga para sa ating republika. Ano pa itong meron ko pang ipapakita dito, Neil? Ano pa itong mga picture na gusto mo ipakita sa akin dito?
Hindi, this is sabihin, kilala natin si Vice President Laurel as a politician, nakikipaglaban. Ngunit dito makikita natin yung private life niya na siguro marami hindi nakakaalam. He plays the violin.
Oo.
Mahusay pang kumanta.
Oo.
At ito yung portion ng Holiday Hills. Kung saan ngayon nakatayo yung museum. At kasama niya si Tita Celia dito. This is after the celebration ng centennial natin where he played a very important role as chairman of the Philippine Centennial Commission. So, ito yung private life ni Vice President Laurel.
Tatanong ko kay David, David, very musical ang family ninyo, no?
Yes.
Grabe ang ano no, ang
We have been
artistry sa family ninyo, no?
We have been blessed, both sides. My grandfather, father's side,
Oo.
played the bandurria and all the the stringed instruments.
Oo,
no?
oo, oo.
On my mother's side naman, my grandfather played all the wind instruments.
Okay.
The flute, the horns, you know.
Uh-huh.
So somehow it's inescapable that the family members, our family, would be also musically inclined.
Aha.
Musically inclined.
Why did the Vice President choose the violin?
Well, he played, I think, first or second violin. Sa pamilya nila, several of them, I think 3 or 4 of them played the violin. One was played the piano,
Okay.
and the other was a vocalist. My lolo also played the bandurria. So he would practice 6 hours a day just because he wanted to become very good at the violin.
Aha.
And if you take a look at his violin, experts take a look at his violin. It's a Stradivarius,
Okay.
one of the few remaining Stradivarius in the whole world.
Aha.
And he plays that with a lot of passion.
Aha.
Kahit na, sometimes uwido kami.
Oo.
The whole family would get together. He would play. Coco would play the piano and sing.
Oo.
Iwi would also sing. All the family members would sing, you know. So it was something that satisfied, brought him fulfillment, brought us all fulfillment. Yung quality time not together.
Is it correct to say that nadidinig ko lang na ito na ang paggamit sa kapangyarihan ay parang katulad sa violin daw. Kaya mahalaga na ang tao marunong you should know how to play the violin because it is like knowing how to exercise power. Tama ba yun? I got that from your father according to some people. Tama ba yun?
If you put it that way, maring tama yan because when you play the violin, it's one slip, one small inch na off key ka talaga eh. So everything is calculated.
Precise.
The music, the beat, the pitch have to be perfect eh.
You know when to exercise
You
by
know
the
when to
strength of your balls
when
or
to do forte, when to restrain it, you know,
Oo.
you have to be good at that. You have to be a master of the violin, just as you have to be a master of politics. You have to be able to identify or be part of your consistency, your constituency, the people that you serve, so that you understand that hindi ka lang basta bato ka ng bato and then
your father is a Renaissance man in that sense.
He is an all
And
around guy.
how many Renaissance leaders? I mean, how many leaders do you know really play an instrument? And aside from just simply singing, you know, but I'm saying really taking the time to play an instrument because that takes a certain
Skill.
discipline, a certain
and
skill, no?
discipline,
A certain dedication for that matter, di ba?
Oh, very important 'yan in public service. Kaya nakita natin siguro yung dedication and passion ni Vice President Laurel in what he did, especially in politics, because nakuha niya from the discipline and the passion that he got from playing the instrument, especially the violin. Very hard to play na instrument 'yan. No?
Tsaka hindi mawawala dyan yung ingat, pagkaingat. When you take care of your instrument, like you take care of your office, your position, you have to take care of it for the next guy who comes along.
Yes.
Okay, your programs have to be skewed so that the succession is good and it's final. Hindi lang yung papalit-palit. No?
Pero doon sa mga gustong makakita nitong violin na ginagamit ni Vice President Laurel, hindi po naka-display yan dahil masyado pong mahal yan. Tama ba?
Tama.
Masyadong mahal po yan.
Milyones.
Oo, kailangan siguro pag ganun po, kailangan nasa central bank po yan kasi naka-display dahil napakamahal po yan ngayon dahil antique na yan, ano?
Antique yan, galing sa lolo po namin.
Oo.
Or siguro, Eric, ang pinaplano yata, sa dami kasi ng materials, Dave, di ba?
Na
Even
pwedeng
yung mga
i-display
letters
eh.
niya,
Oo.
siguro may isang month na it can be about music, so ilalabas yung mga particular instruments na ganyan. Tapos later on naman, ang plano yata nila ng Laurel family is to bring out some of the letters that he wrote. Ang dami kasi, boxes and volumes of personal notes na pwedeng ilabas at i-share sa public. We're just in the process of
Sifting through it.
Going over the voluminous documents that he had.
Etong milyones na binabanggit ni David, hindi po ito pesos ha.
Dollars.
Dollars po ang ibig sabihin itong
The whole world.
itong
sa
halaga
buong
nitong
mundo.
Stradivarius,
Correct.
hindi po ito
Correct.
pesos, dollars na ito.
Mukhang 1700 yata ang gawa niyan eh.
1700s.
1700. That's
And-
why it's genuine.
At I think napa-appraise nyo na yata ito sa US.
Pinakita na namin sa expert.
Okay.
And they've seen the marks.
Imagine if you put it on Google and just to see
I-bid,
just to see what are the going rates.
Going rates.
Kasi mas aakyat yata pag may bidding, no?
Correct.
Di ba?
Makalalaman
Now,
yan.
people are saying, you know, may icon of democracy, mayroong ganito, may gano'n. It seems that history is being rewritten. Everybody is trying to get a slice of EDSA, no? Right now, the leftists are saying they should be in the forefront kasi sila daw ang nagbuwis ng buhay, kaysa ganito. But, is it correct to say that actually, between martial law, which was a dictatorship, and the dictatorship of the leftist, hindi kasi yun ang naglalaban-laban ng panahon niya. Tanggapin man nila hindi.
Power struggle.
Pareho, ang power struggle kasi parehong armado yan eh, no? I mean, I recall that is what your father was saying.
Yes.
Dalawang bato ang nagbabanggaan at gustong kunin ng ating bansa, di ba? Ang diktadorya ng batas militar at ang diktadorya ng mga komunista kasi parehong armado eh. Ang sambayanan ay walang armas. Di ba? Nasa gitna tayo. So anong alternatibo ang dapat ibigay natin? Was this the foundation? Was this the reason why your father decided that bigyan natin ang pagkakataon ng sambayanan makapagsalita, itayo natin yung United Nationalist Democratic Organization? This was the basis.
Naalala ko yun noon, I think very well from the beginning, ang tawag nila third force yun eh.
Third force.
If you remember, everything was still gelling.
Yes.
Tawag nila muna third force. But then, I think there was need of the voice of the opposition.
Okay.
So, naging United Democratic Opposition.
Okay.
That was the first as an umbrella. As an umbrella. Kasi di nagka-problema sa KBL because si Marcos wanted it to become a political party.
Yes.
Which is just an umbrella organization. So medyo nagalit si Tito Pito. At that time said, no, it is just an umbrella. It's not supposed to replace the NP.
Yeah, correct.
Okay, so they bolted. My father and Tito Pito bolted from that umbrella and decided to put up their own. And that's where the Unido, which I again bring it back from where I started, is really the catalyst for the EDSA 1 revolution.
This provided the political platform for the democratic alternative, di ba? For our people.
A lot of people were polarized because left and right yun eh. Yung nasa gitna, where would they go? So that provided an avenue for them to join forces. Kaya ang daming sumali. If you take a look at that picture that you had sa Araneta, it was flooded with people. And all these people are cheering, you know, everybody, come on, let's do this, do this. Takbo tayo, let's support Laurel and his candidacy. We will fight Marcos.
And then, iba-ibang political parties actually nakapaloob, mga samahan dito sa United Nationalist Democratic Organization. Mindanay Alliance,
PDP Laban,
Bicol Saro, PDP Laban, may Nationalista Party, may Liberal Party, kung sino-sino pang mga grupo, ano? And then different personalities. Ninoy was also there, I think, as Vice President. I think kasi actually magkakabarkada po yung dalawa eh.
Very close.
Oh yeah, from childhood days.
From childhood days sila kasi may pinagsamahan sila, no? So, in short, there was no competition between both of them, no? Am I correct to say, David, that there was even a time when Ninoy would even say, Doy, ikaw na ang tumakbong presidente, and your father would say, hindi, ikaw na lang tumakbo. Ganun yung relasyon nila.
They were very close. And from childhood days pa nga, magkabarkada na sila. Ninoy would hang out with my dad's kabarkada already. Not with his younger brother, si Doji. Kasi medyo, he was glib of tongue, and he liked hanging out with my dad. So, all throughout, up to UP, Upsilon pa nga silang dalawa. So they were very close. Even during the Senate days, you know, they would confer with each other.
And then during the college days, tama ba to say that it was Ninoy who would even drive? Silang dalawa magkasama sila.
Sa jeepster.
Tama ba yun? Siya ang nagda-drive tapos...
Pwede siguro kasi junior
silang lumalabas, silang dalawa lumalabas.
Hindi, at saka junior kasi si Ninoy sa fraternity. Kaya yung junior brad ang magda-drive para dun sa senior brad.
So silang parang
magkabarkada.
Sila ang lumalabas.
So
it was that kind of a relationship. There was no political, yung parang bang dynamic, walang political dynamics na nangyayari sa kanila.
Wala, very personal.
Mostly, it was a friendship.
Friendship.
It was a friendship that went on for a long time.
And then nung pag-alis ni Ninoy for abroad, for operation, the mantle actually was left with your father.
Yes.
Kasi karamihan ng mga so-called opposition nasa US na lahat
US, they also actually migrated for a while.
Majority of the Liberal Party, in fact, was in the US. Ang natira lang dito, I think, was Eva Estrada Calao,
Yes, Eva Calao.
which represented the, the Liberal Party,
Yes.
along with the group of Lito Atienza.
That wing.
Oo. Kaya that's why, yung mga hindi nakakaintindi sa politika ni Lito Atienza, may karapatan din siyang mag-Liberal Party kasi siya yung siya yung naiwang Liberal Party dito sa Pilipinas. And then, your father, I think, was very resilient in his thoughts. Sabi nga niya, saan pa ba dapat ang manggagamot kung hindi dapat dito kung saan...
May sakit.
Sa may
Sa may
sakit,
sakit.
ano?
Oh,
Ba't
sinabi
ka
ni
alis sa
Rizal.
ibang bansa? Malalayo ka sa pasyente. Dapat dito yung laban, dito ka dapat manirahan, hindi ba? So, pinanday niya yung UNIDO from 1980 up to 86.
Yes. And that was an uphill fight.
Tapos
Alam mo naman,
walang pera yun.
Walang pera yun.
Walang pera, kusa lahat, ano?
Oo, kusang loob. Tapos, like your father, from the Visayas area, helped him a lot. You know, yung mga kaibigan niya sa Mindanao, they helped him a lot. So it's really a gathering, sabi nila, a gathering of Davids, a gathering of forces, no? That really galvanized UNIDO to what it was at that time. Kaya naging, I think the party, the majority party at that time, KBL, recognized the force that was already organizing through the countryside. Hindi lang Metro Manila kasi most of the time, parties were organized from the Manila or the Luzon central level. These things were coming from the province. So that was a formidable force to contend with.
Neil, politiko ka, no? Ito, itatanong ko sa iyo. Alam mo, sa mga politiko kasi may kanya-kanya ambisyon yan, ano? Pero sa tingin mo, si Doy Laurel, 1980, naitayo niya yung UNIDO. Pero itong mga tao na ito, na mga politiko din, may kanya-kanya din ambisyon, pero naisukob niya sa isang organisasyon. That says something about your leadership.
O yun,
Na itong mga tao na ito, handa rin magpasukob sa iyo at gumagalang din sa liderato mo.
Kaya nga importante yung sinabi mo kanina, going back to the violin and how to play that instrument, na you have to be precise, merong pressure, merong... So it's just like being given the mantle of leadership, na kailangan you know when to exert pressure, you know when to be hard naman, or when to be soft dun sa mga people that you govern or your constituency. So pinapakita dyan ni Vice President Laurel kung yung harmony that existed pag siya ang may mantle of leadership and how he really governed people and how kasi yung respect that you got from a leader kasi everything is leadership by example. Siguro nakita nila na si Vice President Laurel really excelled and really exercised that leadership by example na napakataas na itinaas really niya yung antas ng leadership at quality ng ating leaders dapat.
Neil, ito itatanong ko sa inyo, medyo mahirap ito, no? Gaano kahalaga yung personalidad ng leader at paano mo isusukob yan o paano mo aanalisahin yung impluensya ng kanyang pangalan? Kasi iba yung, ulitin ko lang yung tanong, no? Andyan yung Doy Laurel, yung Doy, personalidad niya, makikilala mo, di ba? Humihingi ng tulong sa'yo para sumama sa UNIDO. Ano naman yung dating nung Laurel na pangalan? Kasi iba yung Laurel na pangalan, iba naman yung Doy na kumukumbinsi sa'yo. Merong bang, may impluensya ba yung apelyidong Laurel? Pag nilapitan ka at sinabing tumulong ka sa bayan?
Ako, salamat Eric for that question because ako katulad ngayon, that's why I'm in public service. Malaking bahagi nung pagiging nasa public service ko ngayon is because of my experience and yung naging relationship ko kay Vice President Laurel. At nakita ko kasi sa kanya, working closely with him, nakasama namin siya sa Philippine Centennial Commission nung ako student leader sa UP. Nakita ko yung passion niya and yung drive niya really and yung love of country. Kaya yun yung dala-dala ko ngayon in public service, in my service to my constituents sa Laguna. Ang lagi niya sinasabi yung pagmamahal sa bayan. Kailangan mahalin mo yung bayan mo sapagkat pag mahal mo ang bayan mo, hindi mo sasaktan ngayon magba-Valentine's Day. Yung mahal mo hindi mo sinasaktan ginagawan mo ng mabuti. So kung mahal natin yung bayan natin, we have that passion for our country and nationalism, hindi ka magnanakaw sa bayan mo hindi ka gagawa ng masama para sa bayan mo.
May magic yung Laurel, may magic yung Laurel name.
At the same time, of course, but ako naman hindi ko tinitingnan na ganun eh. Nakita ko ang sa akin more on the personality na si, of course, being Upsilonian, Brad also in the fraternity, nakita ko yung personal relationship eh. Kasi nakakasama ko siya eh, whether we are in, nagsasalita siya or kami lang going to the university sa UP, magkasama kami sa sasakyan. He always talks about the country and ano pang pwede nating magawa and how to improve the lives of our people.
I don't want to ask this question, but I'll ask this of David, no? And I'll ask this also of you. Sometimes, in order for us to be able to appreciate, the participation of an individual in history, we have to ask, how would history have been without him? So I ask you, David, how would EDSA have turned out if Doy Laurel was not there, or even UNIDO was not there?
Balikan ko yung sinabi ko noon, nung the start of I'm sorry to preempt you at that time. No? But, my premise is that had there been UNIDO, have there been no UNIDO, wala yung EDSA 1. Wala yung EDSA 1. Because there would be no organization from the grassroots level, from the provincial masses, that would generate enough momentum for that thing to happen eh. When they called out for EDSA 1, alam nila they were confident kasi may UNIDO dyan eh. It was a well-organized, well-oiled machinery that fought Marcos during the snap elections. And there were poll watchers because it was a DOP or the dominant opposition party recognized by the COMELEC at that time. So it had may dating siya, may dating. So without that organization, which was fostered or founded by my dad together with your father, Senator Espina, then there might not have been an EDSA 1 eh. Baka wala. Baka it would have been just business as usual.
Or it could have been a military junta after EDSA.
It could have been a
kasi
military
walang political legitimacy to rise to power eh. Kasi walang political party.
Yes, it's true.
Would it be fair to say that there would not have been a Cory Aquino dahil walang UNIDO eh? Anong partido ang walang dominant opposition party? Sino magbibilang ng boto?
Hindi, kaya nga sinasabi natin na very critical and very important, and really historians and the young today really have to take a look back at history and the role of Vice President Laurel and his compatriots in the opposition then in rallying the people during that time. Sapagkat kung wala sila, kailangan tanaw tayo sa kasaysayan. Yung lagi natin sinasabi, we have to look back at history. At kung hindi natin malalaman at titingnan ng kasaysayan, hindi tayo makakarating sa paroroonan. The lessons of history are here. The lessons of history are in the Salvador Doy Laurel Museum in San Pedro. Kaya inaanyayahan natin ang ating mga kababayan, lalo na ang ating mga kabataan, ang ating mga public schools. Ang daming schools around that area. It is yung proximity niya.
So pwede silang pumunta doon, malapit.
Pumunta sila at makikita nila first hand and judge makikita nila doon kung ano yung contribution at enormous and critical contribution ni Vice President Salvador Laurel sa ating bansa ngayon, sa ating kasaysayan.
Okay, napakaiksi po ng panahon at sayang po, but the next time po, maghahanap tayo ng pagkakataon na mailabas po natin yung documentary patungkol po sa UNIDO. Talagang mas kumpleto po yun. Maghahanap lang tayo ng ibang pagkakataon, mailabas yun. Pero huwag niyo po kalilimutan yung Doy Laurel Museum, nandyan po sa San Pedro, Laguna.
Salamat, Eric.
At nais natin pasalamatan, of course, si Neil Andrew Nocon, board member. I think tumatakbo yata uli ito. At si David Laurel po.
Eric. Thank you
at
very
ang
much.
anak po ni Salvador Doy Laurel. Wala na po tayong panahon. Ito po si Eric Espina, palagi pong nagsasabi sa inyo, magmasid, makialam, higit sa lahat ay manindigan. Dahil wala pong magmamahal sa Pilipino kung hindi ang Pilipino. Daghang salamat, maayong gabi, kaninyong tanan.